Paris-Bercy is over, and me and Ben are here to round it all up. It was a fantastic week for Sasha Zverev, climbing up the rankings and winning his first Paris Masters.
And we also review the first round robin matches at the WTA Finals with Iga, Saba, Paolini and Coco Gauff all getting a win.
Yes, that's right. We're back for another podcast, and a lot of tennis has happened. We're not going to be speaking so much about the Sinners and Alcarazes today because there's someone else on the men's tour who we've not spoken about nowhere near enough in a tennis sphere. We always talk about him off court, but on court, Sasha Zverev is having a very good year and maybe gone under the radar a bit because he's had a lot of wins.
Yes, he has indeed. This Paris Masters win, I think, is one of the biggest of his career. And I think that the courts this past week in Paris have just suited him down to the ground so fast that it's caused problems for some of the other players. Alcaraz couldn't handle the speed of the courts. And Zverev, we know what he's like when he gets a fast indoor hard court. And he made it look easy in the final. I just think that he just has such great consistency that Humbert was unable to overcome in today's final. That it was almost like karma came to bite Humbert back after the Khachanov match because there was so much going on, and we're talking about off the court. So the Twitter sphere went mad after that match because of his reactions during the match, and now the French didn't even get anything to cheer in this final because Sasha Zverev was impeccable.
Yeah, he was good, but Ugo Humbert didn't turn up in the final, made so many unforced errors. I saw some stats in the first set. It didn't get any better in the second, and it was a complete beatdown. But what I was sort of alluded to in my intro was not just this match, it's actually his year in general. He played very well this tournament. He had some good performances. The final was just so easy. I'm not going to touch on it too much in detail. But in 2024 as a collective, he now is the leader for wins. He's got 66 wins. Sinner in second with 65. Alcaraz 52. And he is the new world number 2, and he's racking up the wins. And it did surprise me. I didn't realise that he's had this amount of wins. Of course, he's played, I'm going to hazard a guess, more than anyone. He does enter a lot of tournaments. He's not had so many injury problems or illnesses. He's been present at a lot of the big events. Maybe would have liked to have done better in some of the slams. Of course, a brilliant Roland Garros. But on the hard courts, US Open, he'd have hoped to have done a little bit better. All in all, if he wants to be able to crack the duck and get to world number 1, needs to win a slam. And he spoke about this in a press conference. He was asked, what would you rather, be world number 1 or win a Grand Slam title? And he was sort of umming and ahhing. I'm not going to read it all out. He was going between the two. But the way he concluded it was, in essence, the only way nowadays in 2024 to be able to be world number 1 is you need to win a Grand Slam as well. And I agree with that completely. And that's what he's missing because he's got everything else. And as much as we did an episode not too long ago speaking about who is the greatest player to never win a Grand Slam, I was sort of flirting with the idea of Grigor Dimitrov, maybe because I love his one-handed backhand and the whole aura and showmanship of him. Statistically, it is Sasha Zverev, and he's just consolidated that position even more after today.
Yeah, I mean, I liked his press conference actually after the final. I thought he was very honest in his appraisal of the match, his tournament, and like a bit of a realist when it came to what he's actually expecting from himself moving forward. Because he was saying, I'm not really even expecting to win Paris coming in this week. He said, I'm just trying to actually just get better at tennis, in every facet of tennis, like mentally, physically, like technique, everything. So he knows he's not the final product. And if he was the final product, he would have won a slam already. He knows that for sure. I'm looking forward to next year because if he carries that mindset into next year, we've got the fall off, obviously. Nadal's not going to be there anymore. Djokovic is sort of on the decline. We know that. And if Alcaraz or Sinner goes out early in any slam, we know who's going to be there to pick up the pieces. It's going to be Sasha Zverev. And I think there's only certain players that can mentally beat Sasha Zverev in a final. And I think it's those big boys. And I don't think anybody else could. And if he's able to get to the final and they're not there, even if they are there, maybe if he makes a slight adjustment, he might be able to beat them. I don't know.
He's definitely got a Taylor Fritz problem. Let's not beat around the bush. Needs to be able to beat him. I know you're saying no one else who beats him. He's lost to Fritz at Wimbledon and the US Open.
Yep.
Lost to him at the Laver Cup as well, straight after. He's lost to Massetti a few times. So he's got these players he doesn't seem to do so well against. But the Fritz is the big one. I think he is a better overall player than Taylor Fritz. So you'd like to think he needs to push on and try and be a bit more competitive in that battle. To lose 3 times in a row, I think he'll be disappointed with, especially knowing how close they are and the nature of the losses, being in Grand Slams. Taylor Fritz is someone who mentally is not the strongest. Zverev is similar. Needs to start doing some stuff in Grand Slams now. We got to a final, but we need to see him. He's got to two finals, isn't it? But he needs to go on and win one. And that's how he gets to that next level. And I think it will give him so much more confidence if he can get one, that we're going to see him battling more and more with the likes of Alcaraz and Sinner for all of them. Because he is, in my opinion, the same. Him and Medvedev are on the same level in that third spot. However, Zverev is better on all of the other surfaces aside from the hard court. Sort of hard court, he's up there with Medvedev. He's better on the clay and the grass for me. And on that basis, he's probably just edging Medvedev as a more complete overall player.
Yeah, I'd say so. That obviously the clay being such a massive thing for Sasha Zverev, so good on all the surfaces. I think the thing, like obviously we're looking at Taylor Fritz as being somebody who seems to be a bit of a nemesis, a bit of a bogey player for him. I think the one difference between Fritz, though, and Sasha Zverev is the results, similar to like a Medvedev, the results against the bigger players, like your Sinner and Alcaraz. Zverev can beat both of them and has winning head-to-head against, I believe, Sinner, and I think against Alcaraz it's level or something at the moment, something like that, whereas Fritz has losing head-to-heads to both of those players. That's what Zverev brings. He's a big match player and he can beat those big players in slams. Just unfortunate at the moment he can't beat Taylor Fritz, but I think that will turn around, and I think Zverev's game, it is like conducive with beating someone like a Fritz. I think if he just gets the mental in the right place. Medvedev, I still think Medvedev has more slams in him. He needs more confidence just to come back. I feel like he's a good
draw as well. These two need a draw.
Yeah, they really do. I mean, we've seen everybody stacked to one side of the draw for a lot of this calendar year, and Djokovic
on the other one.
Exactly. I'm not sure what's been going on with the draw. It's been Alcaraz, Sinner and Medvedev on one half, and then there's been Djokovic on the other half, and Zverev's sort of been the other player on the other half a lot of the time as well. I think Zverev could have a really good 2025. I'm really excited, and don't put it past him. He could end this year with a bang because the tour finals are coming up and it's indoor hard court yet again, and this is where he thrives.
Yeah, for sure. I've got a tweet I want to bring up, and that is about Zverev and his the way people perceive him. So it reads, hate Sasha all you want for what you think he's done in his personal life. We know that is an endless story. And he's certainly not that popular. The way he interacts with umpires, other players at times, and of course everything happening in a legal sense, not a good look at all. But on a court, we need to give him a lot of respect. He's more titles than anyone else in the top 100 beside Novak. He plays with a debilitating illness, never retires or uses it as an excuse. He was told he'd never play again after the injury and got back on top fast. He's won as many matches as Sinner this year, 20 more than Med example, despite a knee injury and pneumonia. Yes, he doesn't have a slam yet. Only 4 active players in the top 100 do. So we should probably respect him a little more.
Well, definitely.
In a tennis sense.
In a tennis sense, he's
so complete.
Yeah, very. The one, like I was saying earlier about this final, the one thing that I think shocked Ugo Humbert that he's been able to do to everybody else this week was sort of just beat them off the court with like powerful shots. Zverev's recoverability on a tennis court is probably one of the best. I'd say top 3 on the men's game. He's so long with his wingspan, and he's fast, and he gets everything back, and he's solid on both wings. Forehand, backhand. He just won't go away in a rally. And sometimes it can be a bit boring, I'm not going to lie. It's like a bit like a wall. It just keeps coming back and waiting for you to make an error some of the time. But that's what wins tennis matches, and sometimes that's all that matters.
I mean, his backhand is the closest thing to Novak Djokovic. You could say Medvedev has one too, which is similar, but I think as a weapon, Zverev does have a weapon of a backhand, and it's so hard to do the way he does it. Very, very overall and accomplished and complete, and not many weaknesses. The serve seems to be a lot better now, more consistent, not so many double faults. And it's in his head. Like, if he can keep his head right, he will win titles, and a lot of them. Is he going to be contending for number 1 next season? Only time will tell. It's up to him. He's definitely got a level to be able to do it. I just don't think he's going to, because I think he's going to capitulate mentally like he always does. Aside from that, level-wise, he can go toe-to-toe for all of these players, and he should be in the conversation for world number 1 next year. And not just his ability, I think the tour have helped him a lot. And what I mean by that is, you touched on it a second ago, the courts nowadays always seem to be faster and faster. How many slow hard courts are there?
I don't. Well, this is the one thing he doesn't.
Well, I'm taking this from the players.
Agree.
The players are always saying, "Oh, this one's so fast. This one's so fast." They're always so fast, and that's going to benefit players like a Sasha Zverev more than anyone.
Well, the one thing Zverev came out and said that there's no variety in in all of the surfaces on the tour anymore. He said that everything's slowing down. He said since COVID, he said that the balls have got heavier and the courts have got slower. And he said that now the only way to win matches is if you're one of the big ball bashers on the tour. He said if you're not one of those, then you will struggle to win matches. And he just said...
Then why was everyone saying Paris was so fast, though?
Yeah, no, but he said that was a refreshing thing. He said, I would love to have more courts like that, where it's actually like Alcaraz, you could see, he was like a fish out of water. He doesn't like the fast indoor hard courts at all. It didn't suit his game. Whereas Sasha Zverev is perfect for him. I mean, you don't see as many of these type of surfaces, but he wants more of them. Obviously, he loves them, Sasha Zverev.
I'm basing off what the players are saying. I'm not playing myself, and from what they've said, a lot of them, that the courts of it, there's been a lot of fast courts this year, more than usual.
Anyway, this one's definitely one of them, and I'm sure he'll be hoping in Turin it is just as fast as this one, because Sasha Zverev, I think he is to be feared. I mean, I know that Jannik Sinner's been the hard court king of all of this year, but indoor hard court, you have to argue, probably Sasha Zverev, if it's fast, he's the favourite, I think. So wait and see, though. It's in Italy, but you've already seen today, if the whole crowd's against you, hasn't affected him at all. 2-2 against Ugo Humbert. Obviously, Jannik Sinner's levels above Ugo Humbert, though. So it's not like you can't really put them in the same category, no, nowhere near. And big congratulations to Sasha Zverev. 7 Masters. I mean, people would retire with 1 or 2 and they'd be happy. He's got 7 of them to his name, and look how many finals as well. I think that was his 12th final, was it? So, pretty incredible stuff.
Yeah, for sure. What I want to speak about next, Ben, is the ATP race. Because it is hotting up, and it sort of sums up with Paris as well. It fits in quite nicely, because the players who were trying to get in to the ATP Finals didn't really turn up, did they? Tommy Paul, shambolic, went out opening round pretty much. Well, I think he had a bye, but the first time he played, he went out.
Yep.
Rublev struggled. Dimonor
early.
He went a bit further, but still
Went
couldn't
out
quite
to
get it done.
Rune.
Casper Ruud, terrible.
Yeah,
Like all
really
of them
bad.
just weren't. They could not handle the occasion, knowing that they're trying to get there. Novak Djokovic is walking his way into the Tour Finals without even wanting to play or putting any effort in to get there. It's insane.
Just
They're
took the
handing this to Novak Djokovic. Is he going to play or not? I'm not sure. But
I don't
it
know.
looks almost certain now that he's going to qualify. You don't know for certain. And I think Morgado did a good tweet what sort of highlights how the remaining 4 players can get in. Obviously, Djokovic is in there as well, so it is 5 who are still in contention. Grigor Dimitrov can no longer qualify. So it is between just these 5. Will Djokovic even play? We don't know. He's the only one not playing any more matches until then. So you've got Ruud, Dimonor and Rublev here. And yeah, it's hotting up because you've got Ruud playing Metz, you've got Dimonor playing Belgrade and Rublev playing Metz.
I mean, I would love it if Djokovic does decide to play the Tour Finals. I don't think he will. I'm a bit like a 30% he'll play, 70% he won't play. I mean, if he just sees this and like players just throwing away their opportunities to be there, why would he give up his opportunity? He hasn't even had to do anything. He's just sat at home, lost 1,000 points, and just thought, "Oh, wow, I'm still in it." That's a that's had one of his worst years on tour in recent years, and still somehow is right there in the Tour Finals. Crazy, but who do you reckon's going to make it out of those last few?
I don't think Rublev's going to. Reason being is because of his draw. He's got Dimitrov pretty early on, and I fancy Dimitrov with the pressure off him to beat Rublev, and on that, and I think Ruud with his draw at the bottom, he's got a great shot to get all the way to the final and potentially win that event, which is going to help sort of push him up. Dimonor, he's in his own event completely. Great chance for him. So yeah, it's a tough one. I don't know what's going to happen, but I've not seen any update from Djokovic whether or not he's going to confirm if he's playing, but it seems like he's not going to. I don't know. I don't know. So if I'm just looking at the other guys, I think Ruud is the safe bet with his points where he's at.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the safe one, and it's a 250, isn't it, that he's playing, so he should be.
Ruud loves a nice little 250 to boost him up. So I'm going to probably stick with the Ruud and Dimonor. Djokovic don't play, Rublev gets in too.
Sounds good. Let us know in the comments section who you have as your final 8 that are going to be in the Tour Finals. Great to hear from everybody. We read all the comments. Let's move on from the men's, and now let's move on to the WTA Finals. And we've had the first round robin matches have all been played. Iga got a win. We'll speak about that one because, I mean, what a first match for this. I mean, everyone was questioning Barbora Krejcikova's sort of her route to get here was just winning Wimbledon essentially, and everybody was just saying, well, she's going to finish last. She's not even going to compete. She won the first set against.
Did you have her finishing last?
Yeah, I didn't think she'd do well at all.
So everyone included you.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying everybody thought she was not going to do well, including myself. She's come in here. She was a set and double break up on Iga in this match. And Iga somehow turned this whole match around. And fair play to Iga, because that just goes to show. We were saying, oh, she's not played a lot of tennis in recent weeks. I think it showed. I think it was a bit of ring rust or court rust, as we'll call it here. And I think she got caught cold in that first set. Krejcikova played well. And then she finally had to dig in, and we saw the real Iga, the sort of the world number 1 style Iga that we know and love. And she came through strong in that third set, absolutely battered her off the court. And Krejcikova wasn't even running for some of those winners by the end. And
do you know how Iga managed to do it? And what helped her so much today? It was one big thing.
Playing in front of a packed crowd?
Certainly wasn't that. Yeah, there was a lot of empty seats in Riyadh, unfortunately. It was her serve. And her serve, I don't know what's happened, but it come to a really good level today. And she was serving brilliantly. She made 8 aces, which is she's only had more twice in a single main draw match in her career. 12 against Bogdan at Australian Open, 9 against Lapko in Lugano 2019. So it doesn't happen often. It's been a few years since she was able to hit this amount of aces. So it was key because when she was down in that second set and down and out pretty much, she was just pulling some big serves, hitting a lot of good first serves, and that is what dragged her back into the match. Her ability to find her first serve under pressure and follow it up with her game. If her serve, because we've always said with Iga, she's a fantastic player, but her serve is not as good as some other players on tour.
Not a weapon.
If she was able to become like a real big server with that and dominant on the first serve, a little bit like Yannick Sinner does. He's not necessarily a big server, but he is one of the best pressure servers in the world. No doubt about it. Him and Djokovic are incredible pressure servers. Iga showed that today. She was fantastic. And if she serves in the same way or can just keep improving it and getting better, Djokovic improved his so much later in his career. Iga's still relatively at the start of hers. If she can start improving that now, then I think she will be the number one, back where she belongs as like the one who can beat Saba more regular than Saba beats her. At the moment, I would say head-to-head, Saba slightly edges it. I think she can overpower an Iga. But if Iga gets that serve going a lot better, I would fancy Iga sort of 7 times out of 10 in that battle.
Yeah, I mean, the way that Sabalenka's playing right now is quite scary. The way that she dispatched Kim Wing-Jeng in the first match, 6-3, 6-4. I mean, it was impressive. And this is not Kim Wing-Jeng who's playing badly. She was playing pretty well, but you just can't get close to some of those winners. And that's the one thing that you have to contend with. She is sort of the Yannick Sinner of the women's side. On hard courts, she's been pretty unstoppable. I was so impressed with this match because she had the whole... this was one of the matches where there was actually a big crowd for this one. It seems like everybody's there to support Kim Wing-Jeng. There's a massive lot of Chinese fans in the house. They've all come along to watch, and she literally got every single winner was massive cheers, and Saba silenced everybody. She was hitting winner after winner after winner. Brilliant performance and asserting her dominance. She's won 21 of the last 22, 55th win of the year as well. Amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, other players who obviously won their first match, Coco Gauff, she was on today. Coco Gauff beat Pegula. I mean, Pegula was one. Were you alluding to her maybe doing well in this one, or I can't remember.
Yeah, I got that. I don't know. Well, I went on a bit of a gamble. I thought Pegula was going to do better, but yeah, got demolished by Coco. Played very well, Gauff. She's 10-1 since the US Open. Not quite the levels of Sabalenka. Sabalenka has been the best player this year for me, without a doubt. But what I would say is Coco Gauff, if she can eradicate the amount of double faults she has. I was looking on the WTA website actually just to try and back it up, and she's hit the most double faults this season by some distance as well. 407 double faults from Coco Gauff this year. Second is Marta Kostyuk, 370, and then third, Kasatkina, like 313. So it's like 100 difference between first and third. It is a crazy amount of double faults from Coco Gauff.
Yeah,
and I think she just gambles a lot on the second serve, but needs to just stop with that completely. The interesting thing here, move Pegula all over the court, hit just 2 double faults. It's like a thing what people mention now. Only 2 double faults for her is a massive improvement. If she can keep going with them double faults, she will push a lot of players. And next up's Iga. Last year, I think she beat Iga at the Tour Finals. This one's, I think, in the balance. I'm going to say it's going to be a 3-set close one.
I don't know. I think the main takeaway from the match against Pegula was, as it's highlighted here, the forehand. That's the one other problem she's always had.
True, yeah.
Everyone attacks it, and her forehand on the run cross court was brilliant. I just liked the way that she was actually very aggressive, very attacking, had an offensive mindset, came to the net as often as she could. didn't look scared of Pegula whatsoever. And Pegula just, I don't know, she was running left, right and centre. She didn't look like she was able to get into the rallies at all to even assert any dominance. So fair play. Was very happy for Coco Gauff. And somebody else you should be very happy for, it's Jasmine Paolini. The story continues and she beats Jelena Rybakina. Straight sets as well. What did you make of that?
We called it. Exactly what we said. We know she does very well against Rybakina historically. Wasn't sure how Rybakina was feeling going into this one. She had a lot of coach problems, a lot of physical problems, maybe some mental problems as well. A lot going on off the court we don't know anything about. We're kind of in the dark. Is she ready to play? Is she not? Is she motivated? Too many questions. Brilliant player though on her day. We know she's got a new coach now, Goran Ivanisevic. That should help her. Perfect for her kind of serve and the way she plays tennis. Still wasn't able to beat Paolini. Just a brilliant player. My favourite story of 2024 on the women's is Jasmine Paolini. I want her to win this. She's probably my favourite player at the moment on the women's tour, and someone I really want to. I can easily get behind. I think she's very likeable in her on-court interviews, and someone I just like the little guy you want to cheer on.
Most definitely. I think she's got a really nice personality. You can see that she's always full of smiles, always full of fun.
I like watching her play though. It's not just she's actually interesting to watch. You always get so much fight and determination to win every ball. Bit like
solid
Rafa.
Off both wings as well. Like her backhand looks like it's like a bullet.
It's good, yeah.
And really like her tenacity on a court. Unfortunately, we don't really see the same style of Jelena Rybakina that we've seen in the past. I don't know what's up with her, like you say. Hopefully we get to see the real Rybakina back at some point soon. But she put this Instagram out saying, well, at least I got a pic with Neymar. And there we go, there she is. You can't win them all, but at least she's happy. She looks happy there, doesn't she?
I don't know. Mystery, I think this sums it up. Her head's not on tennis fully for me. But next year, I'm still hopeful she's going to do really well, despite that. Because it's not like she's... I think there's just a lot going on. I don't want to speculate too much and come up with some wild theories, and everyone's going to be on me in the comment section. Leave your theories, and I'll have a read of them and have a laugh. I'm not going to put my neck on the line here. And hopefully she'll be back. Someone who we need to speak about, Diana Snyder. You talk about her from time to time, but we don't talk about her enough on this podcast for sure. Fantastic season she's having. Fantastic. A bit Zverev-like, really. The fact that she's gone under the radar. She has won as many titles in 2024 as Sabalenka now. 4. Only played to grab a title on all 3 surfaces. Amazing achievement in what's pretty much her first full pro season. In the meantime, she also picked up a WTA 125 title and a double silver medal at the Olympics. Of course, no points at the Olympics, so she's got that on top of it. She's been flying through the rankings as well. I'm going to have a look in a minute about where she started the year and where she's ended. I know they have it on Flash. Maybe you can have a look.
I can probably find out for you.
I would have to say she's someone who's just moved up so much through the rankings. I wonder if it's as much as Paolini. That's a good comparison to make.
There you go.
Off the top of my head, I would say she has.
Well, this isn't quite up to date. It says 14. I believe she moves up to 12 in the world after that last win that she just had. But I'm just going to have a look on here to have a look down. You can see the dates going all the way back to January. Was at 97, but she did actually drop to 108 in the world at the end of January. So to go from there all the way up to number 12 in the rankings come the end of October is pretty incredible, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just trying to work out who's... And the way she beat Bolter in the final, 6-1, 6-2, she is levels above. And I think you've got to consider her for the top 10 next year. Without a doubt. So. That's not a crazy... She's 20 years old, mate. We've not spoke about her enough. Is she as good as a King Ring Zheng right now? I don't think she's far off. I think they're pretty similar level.
her game style. That was the one thing I noticed, like when she was coming through and we were doing like qualifiers to watch all that. That was the first time I remember watching her play, and I just thought she hit so hard. That's the one big takeaway. If she's able to put the rest of her game together, you really struggle. You see what Sabalenka does to players. If you can hit players off the court like she can, then you don't have any troubles. If you put a string of wins together, look, she's winning tournaments based off it now. It's absolutely brilliant. And bear in mind, the person that everybody was talking about coming into this year was Mila Andreeva. She's completely eclipsed her. Look at her.
Yeah, and that's a good example. 2021, she ended the year 864 in the world. 2022 ended the year 110. 2023 didn't move so much, 93, but just cracked the top 100. 2024, it says 14 here, but you said she's higher, right?
Yeah, it says in the live rankings, it says 12 now.
Yeah, so I think she can crack the top 10 next year. Maybe I'm going to put her way up there, but definitely one to stay. And hopefully we see her in the conversation with some of the other young players.
Yeah, not to discredit Mila Andreeva, obviously she's only 17 and she's 16 in the world at the moment. Mila Andreeva,
she's still doing pretty well.
Yeah, very well for somebody so young. Something I have to bring up, I don't really want to, but it was a big headline that was being sung out by an ex-Brit tennis player, and it was about the crowds in Saudi Arabia where they're hosting obviously the WTA Finals, and they will be hosting it for another 3 years. So if this is what's going on, Tim Henman has hit out as embarrassing crowd of only 400 people watch the women's final in Saudi Arabia. What do you make of this? I mean, no people, there's only people in the stands for Kim Win-jeng versus Sabalenka. I think they managed to get about 5,000 people in for that one. But after that, apparently the doubles there's no one. It's just like, it's crazy.
I think it's just lazy just to criticise Saudi Arabia for this. That's my opinion, because I remember all the other WTA final events, and it wasn't like they're exactly packed either.
No.
I feel the bigger problem is with the WTA marketing. Probably in Saudi Arabia, women's sports maybe not as popular as men's, and it is probably not the best idea to be there. But still, we've seen it in other places as well, and it's been equally as bad and depressing. So there's a massive problem with the marketing of women's tennis and the sport. Out of all of the sports in the world, I would say that tennis is one of the sports where men's and women's are completely equally as exciting to watch. And there's no reason why there should be any disparity. It's all about the marketing for me. If anything, and this is maybe a bit biased on my part, this is just down to opinion, I prefer watching the women's tour than men's marginally. I think I've seen some better matches over the years where I've really enjoyed some of them. Taking off the Rafa cap and all of the big stuff with the big three, of course that's unique in its own right, but sort of the general tennis match, which isn't one of them players, I sort of hold them in their own sport. Some of the women's matches I would rather watch.
Yeah, they seem to be a lot more competitive a lot of the time. You get a lot more rallying. This is a lot more drama, I feel, in some of the women's matches when we watch those. But yeah, I don't know what to say about this really, because they've got a 3 more years on the contract, and there looks like there's been very limited amount of promotion done around this to get people in. I was even reading something interesting as well beforehand. I think Ben Rothenberg wrote an article relating to this, but it was also relating to, do you know the Next Gen finals that were hosted last year?
Yeah.
All the way up until the final, apparently, there was empty seats. And then suddenly it was full for the final. And apparently they paid a lot of people to go and fill the seats there. He had the sources on the ground, apparently, that told him that they were one of the people who was paid $26 or something to go and sit in the stands for 4 hours to watch. I'm surprised they've not done the same for this, to be honest. I mean, why do you want to just put on events where you've got the best players in the world and there's just no one there. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think this is where questions need to be asked about tennis as a sport as well. Maybe if we can sort of rebrand it. Unfortunately, matches are too long. People do not want to watch long matches. We're big tennis fans, so we're okay with it. But the general person, in terms of growing the sport and for its future, there needs to be some kind of rejig. I don't have all the answers, but I'm more than happy to have a think, and I'll discuss it on the next episode.
Yes, indeed. Let us know your thoughts in that comment section below. We want to know, how would you fix it? I mean, we want to hear everybody's thoughts, and we'll discuss it on the next episode. But make sure to follow us on Spotify. Give us a 5-star review on there, and on Apple Podcasts if you follow on there too.
Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you soon for more tennis action.